I don't do this very often. I'm not the preacher here. I'm just one of the servants. Um, there's a lot of things on my heart that I want to share with you, and I just have these things that they kind of give me the thoughts, but I'm not going to consult them all the time. I'm just a man, just like many of you are, just a person who became a Christian a long time ago, or maybe just a couple of weeks ago, just last week. We're still babes in Christ. We're still learning. I'm 65 next month, and I'm still a baby compared to some of you. And I'm amazed about some of the brilliance that we have here in the brotherhood, right here in this church. The wisdom that we have right here is amazing to me. And sometimes I marvel at your wisdom. And this is good. It's good to have that wisdom. But a lot of us don't have it. I'm saying me included, because I don't have the wisdom like Jeff, and who can spout off scriptures one after another. As often as I try to memorize, a few weeks later I forget. And I have to start all over from day one. And I'm going through, and right now my mission is to learn everybody's name. And I still don't know them. I still don't know who you are. But I am catching on. Okay? I just learned Sue's name. Okay? And I connected that with my sister, Susan. Okay? So as long as I have some connections, I get to memorize things. But I'm just impressed with the love that all of you share about Jesus. And not just that love, but I'm impressed with your commitment to be here whenever we set up a time to be here, to be together. And this is a growing time. This is a growing time that's for me as it is for you. And when we have these fellowships, these worship times, these study Bible times, is a time when, well, somebody mentioned the other day, steel sharpens steel. We're sharpening each other. We're making each other understand what it is we're here for. I've known people in my life that have been baptized, but you don't hear or see them anymore. They're gone. I hope their faith is going to help them somewhere find the spark that's going to fire them up. And we all know that. And what does it take for each of us to get on fire for the Lord? I think one of the things is encouragement. We need to be encouraged by another person who's been there. I have a little thing about encouragement here, empowering others to do things. Not everybody has the same skills. But once you find what your skill is, use it. Use your skill. And that's one of the things I've learned over my lifetime is, I don't have very many talents, but sometimes I get up and talk to people, and sometimes I feel like I'm foolish. And I'm a little nervous after all these years of doing this. But yet it's necessary, because my experiences might be sharpening someone else's experience. I might be encouraging someone else to do and even try what I'm doing right now. Getting up in front of brothers and sisters, and what should I be afraid of? If I mess up, I'm sure somebody's going to tell me, and I'm okay with that. And but it's just that even in the outside church world, people are afraid to get up and talk with each other. And we shouldn't ever be afraid to talk to each other as a family. And you tell your brothers and sisters whatever you want to tell them at your house, or their house. But you're together as in a family's home right now. We're in the family of God. And we can say whatever is on our hearts. And I'm glad that you allowed me to do this. Well, it's not you allowing me, but Jeff said he needed somebody to say, and I said, I'll do it, Being able, and just doing that part, volunteering is a good thing. Volunteering to do some things that other people don't want to do. Volunteering to do something when someone else is sick. That's a mission. You know, to step in when someone else needs to be picked up. That's a mission. It doesn't have to be something that everybody sees. And we should try to do things without having anybody see it. Not to draw attention to ourselves is a very important thing. And people see it, though. God sees it. People see the good works that you're doing. And that God and Jesus said that would glorify God, because some people do see you doing things. And it does encourage them to, oh, maybe I can do that too. Even Jeff this morning talked about parables, how important parables are, and he mentioned the Good Samaritan. Just that story quickly tells us that we should help another person no matter who they are. No matter who they are. We shouldn't judge them because they might be somebody in the wrong part of town or whatever it is that we draw the lines. We shouldn't be drawing any lines at all when someone else needs help. That's a Christian thing to do. And we shouldn't draw an attention to ourselves. So I'm going to ramble on for a little while. Or if you want to stop me, you can stop me. Jesus imparted to his followers and empowered them to go out and do things. He said this, I'll tell you the truth. Anyone who has faith in me will do what I have been doing. He's telling this to his disciples. He's telling this to his apostles. He will do even greater things than these. Then what things? The things he's been doing already, and they're going to do greater things. Because I am going to the Father. And later on, those same apostles felt like, well, Jesus is crucified now, and they kind of scattered. They scattered for a little while there. But then they regrouped. The love of Jesus regrouped them. And they were waiting. They were waiting where Jesus said to go wait. And we know the results of what they've done, spreading the gospel. We know what Peter did. But he wasn't always the leader of the pack. He even made mistakes even after he became an elder and worked in the church and did things and pulled himself away from other people, and he was corrected. So we can learn from other people, even though they're the religious leaders of the day, they still make mistakes. We learn some things by that. We learn how Paul, when he was Saul, he did some bad things thinking that he was doing good things, and he discovered that he was really doing bad things, and he corrected his behavior. We can learn a lot of that, a lot of things from just reading those stories of what they've done to spread the gospel. Just like we can learn from each other right here today. What are we learning from our brothers and sisters who are not here right now? We love them. We if you're close to somebody who's missing tonight, it'd be a good idea just to call them, give them a call, drop them a card, or when you go and see them and say, we missed you. And just have a general conversation of why aren't you here? Find out why don't they feel like it's important to do so. Sometimes when a person realizes they're missed, they might be there. Sometimes when people feel like no one really cares if I'm there at any time, only on Sunday mornings. So that might be a message that they're receiving already. It's that love, that a connection with another person. Jeff's already let the cat out of the bag this morning when he said that some of us went to the DCYC. Is that right? Okay. The DCYC here on Thursday. I had the best experience that night. We had a large group of people that showed up from all over our city and outside. I mean, I was just amazed. There was over 20 plus people that wanted to be part of that mission. But their numbers were kind of down this last week. And as far as, that's good to have numbers down in the prison, you know. That's really a good thing. But the thing is, there's such a few numbers that we divided up by levels, and we didn't have to stay in, we could stay in one group the entire time. And a lot of us had one-on-one communication. And I was the lucky one that had a one-on-one. And when you're in a situation like that and you don't know this person, you need to relate somehow. I noticed he had his Bible there, and all the inmates have the same Bibles. And the same NIV is what it is. I think it is. And he had his cards. He has these playing cards marking his Bible. I had no idea what I'm going to start with. But when I saw those cards marking his Bible, I wanted to know, why are these here in these different places? And he said, well, I have questions about those. Well, wow, that's a foot in the door right then. So I started going from the beginning of the first card I found. What did you find here that you wanted to question on? And he told me what he was looking for, and I answered the best I could, and I went on. And then I went on to the next spot, and then finally I found a spot in Isaiah. It was marking Isaiah 53. Isn't that coincidental, or is it whatever, that somebody mentioned that this morning when we took the Lord's Supper? We read that. Jason did. See, I remembered his name. Huh? What? Justin. I was close. Well, you see what I'm talking about? I don't feel really tiny anymore. Anyway, he mentioned that. So I used that verse, those scriptures, and I read it for him and with him, and I said, you know what? This is very interesting. This was written 300 or 400 years before Christ. I'm not even sure if the years were right. Okay. But anyway, I said, let's go over here to where it was used again in Acts chapter 8. I knew that story. And he had that one marked too. I said, this is the connection between that one and here in his Bible. And so I read that story about the Ethiopian and Philip making a connection with this man, and how what he said must have been what was written in Isaiah 53. And I said, what was really interesting about this story, the Ethiopian asked Philip, you know what? What did he ask him? He came across water, and what did he say? What hinders me to be baptized? And I said, we don't really know what the exact words that Philip spoke, but he must have talked about baptism. But, you know, that's how the gist of the story went with me on Thursday night. And that young man wants to be baptized. Okay? And I said, when you get out of here, you go look me up. We wasn't allowed to tell him my last name. I told him the church. You know, Bellevue Church of Christ. I was okay with that. And I think there were the rules, that had to follow the rules. Anyway, so February, he's thinking that maybe he might be out or might have to stay longer. He doesn't know yet. But that's an opportunity. That's the kind of opportunity that we like to talk about. It happens to people. And it should happen to you every once in a while. I'm not saying it's not going to happen every day, because it doesn't. But some of those things happen when you kind of help it to happen a little bit. And I think if that young man didn't have his Bible marked, I probably would be stuttering about the whole thing. But he had the right scriptures marked right pages marked in his Bible. And I praised him for being that way, for studying the Word of God that way. Read it. And it says, you're going to find some great things in that Bible. And I said, you already did. So I didn't even have that written down. That just popped up. You see, but and the other title, I'm just going to go with the title here. God is the God of success. When God's working in your life, He's going to help you be successful. If you're following His word, He's going to help you be successful. And if you go back and read Deuteronomy chapter 28. I know that's in the Old Testament, right after God gave them the law, the Ten Commandments, and all that. And God said, if you obey the Ten Commandments, I'm going to grant you success. And He has, if you read chapter 28, all the way 1 through 20, verse 8, you can see all the things that God's promised him that if you do this, you're going to get that. We know the story between then and now, how a lot of them didn't follow the word. But that's the joy of what God is all about. He's about us listening to Him, having a relationship with Him. He wants us to follow Him. And Jesus was asked, what is the greatest commandment? After I just mentioned all the 10 commandments here. The 2 commandments that are the greatest. The first one is, love the Lord thy God with all your heart and all your soul and all your strength. And He said the second one is likened to it. Love your neighbor as yourself. He said this hangs all the law of the prophets. Isn't that wonderful? I don't have to worry about a big creed book or a book with all this check marks and see if I'm actually doing it right, because I know I'm messing up every day. I don't need to worry about that if I have my heart in the right place. And sometimes God allows us to fail in order for us to succeed. Because sometimes when we're down, then we realize that we're down and we got to do something to get back up. And with God's help, He's going to get us back up. He's going to help us get there. Everybody's aware of the prodigal son story. Somebody who thought he had it all, wasted it all, was down as far as he can go, and decided he better go back to the Father. No matter how far down you are in your life, you can get back up. And God would accept you. He would help you dust yourself off. He would praise you about coming back. Some of you that have children that went off to college or went off to join the service and they come back. How do you feel when they come back? Like the prodigal son's dad did. Joyful, happy. You're busting at the seams. And your mom is kissing you to the point where you say, Mom, that's enough now. You want to push her away. But it's good to have that kind of relationship. And we can have that kind of relationship with God. We can also have it with each other. When we're talking about things to the point sometimes we get tears because it brings us to memory of something else that's happened in our own lives. It's not all roses. It's not all milk and honey. But I'll tell you one thing, being with God and being with our brothers and sisters is all love. That's what it's all about. It was one thing. This other title had little by little. You're not going to become this great big polished preacher like Jeff is right now overnight. It takes a lot of hard work to be like him. And all of us are working at different paces. We have little tiny ones. We have older ones here. And I'm getting closer to being one of the older ones. Am I stepping on toes here? Anyway, but the thing is, we have everybody in between. But we all know you don't get to be strong overnight. It takes a little exercise. It takes a little practice. It takes a little somebody telling you messed up here, you need to turn back and do it over again and just do it right this time. And that's what we have Bible classes for, to review and review and review and review things that we've grown up with all our lives. But it's our turn to hand that down to our youngsters, what we've learned down there. I think part of my problem is that I didn't get the basics like your youth is getting the basics here. I didn't become a Christian until I was 18. And so there was a lot of missing years that I got to fill back up. So maybe your daughter can teach me a thing or two about growing up as a Christian, okay? Because I'm missing a lot of things in there. I got a lot of blanks in my life. But you know what? My wife's already filled in some of those blanks. She's already worked on me on there, okay? Yeah, I'm so proud of her. Anyway, some of us male Christians wouldn't be where we are without the female Christians helping us get there, okay? The ladies are primo, okay? Keep us online. But trying to find time to learn, I can't really give you any advice, but my best time was when the house is quiet and it's dark. That's when I like to do my studies. That's when I like to do my praying. And some people have their own special times. We don't have to have the same times. You know, that movie that been out, War Room, I think there's a lot of power in that. What you can get from that movie about praying, power of prayer. Well, I've kind of rambled on way too long, but I want you to know I love you, and we love each other here. We need to keep that power going. And we can't bash the people who are not here. Just give them love and tell them how much love they're missing. That's all I can say about that. But if you need some help in any way, we have each other to pray for each other. We also have each other to help someone become a Christian if that's necessary. We have the ability to do that. Thank you.